The following is a Gear Network presentation on iHeartRadio.
GearNetwork.com.
This is a Gear Network production.
I am the greatest. The greatest.
JC Money.
From the Gear Network Studios, it's the JC Money Podcast with your host, John Cimino, a.k.a. JC Money. And now, here's John.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the JC Money Show here on the Gear Radio Network's iHeartRadio channel. What is up? How's it going? My name is John Cimino at the JC Money on the Twitter and on Facebook, facebook.com/thejcmoney. And I'm going to go ahead and get right into the topics. But first, I must give some love to our Amazon page. It is shopgear.com. That's shopgere.com. Go, if you're going to shop on Amazon, please use my link and just go there and do that. It's no additional cost to you, no nothing. It helps sustain this program. It helps sustain this podcast. It helps sustain this network. Easy breezy Japanesey, my babies. Shopgear.com. That's the easiest way to support us and allows us to keep these spontaneous podcasts going, whether it's on the iHeartRadio channel or, like normal, released on Spreaker or iTunes or whatever platform that we have. All right, now, let's move on, shall we? Time to start the show, my babies. Colin Kaepernick. He's back in the news. And I want to talk about Colin Kaepernick because I've mentioned Colin Kaepernick both on Get Ready America and on the Football Talk, or not just Football Talk Weekly Podcast, whichever you want to say, but I don't really get fully in-depth into it. I did get fully in-depth with it in Get Ready America at that time. Now, that episode was recorded during week 1 of the preseason last season when Colin Kaepernick first started taking a knee at pregame festivities during the national anthem and caused an uproar. And I admit I went off on him because personally, to me, what the American flag means is it's symbolic of the people that fought and died for this country. So to me, while I understand that there are First Amendment rights that protect people's ability to do things like kneel during the national anthem or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with doing that. I personally feel, and I know that there are veterans out there that say, you know what, I fought for that freedom of choice, that they can go ahead and do that, or that freedom of speech that they can express. And I totally respect it coming from them. I was very hard on Colin Kaepernick. At that time, he had not done anything other than be the quarterback for the 49ers and nearly winning them a Super Bowl. I can't discredit that. But seemingly see his skills diminish. Now, the sports analyst side of me is saying, I don't know that was really his skills that were diminishing as much as it was the team around him that was diminishing. I mean, you have to think about it. If you were a 49ers fan or you were following football, that 49ers team was stacked. Jim Harbaugh built it up, and built it good. And then once Harbaugh was fired, and then they brought Jim Tomsula in, it all just started crumbling down. And then they brought Chip Kelly in, and that was a disaster, and 2 coaches in 2 years. Now they have a new regime, and word has it that they're not afraid to look into the past while Jed York tries to build his future. But in any event, I'm losing myself here. At the time that I published that Get Ready America episode, Colin Kaepernick had not done anything other than wear a Miami Dolphins hat as a member of the San Francisco 49ers and piss off his own fan base. Since then, not only has he taken a stand and stood up for what he believes in, he's put his money where his mouth is, which was the thing that I wanted all along. I wanted him to put his money where his mouth was. I wanted him to be that guy. that said, you know what, I'm taking a stand on oppression and racial inequality, but I'm going to take the millions of dollars that I've made and I'm going to do something good with it. I'm going to give back. At the point when I released that Get Ready America podcast, that hadn't happened. Since then, it has happened tenfold. So I am in this guy's camp now. And I have been since he made his very first donation, which I believe ended up being 5 weeks later from that podcast. But now we are in the football offseason, and what ended up happening here is that Colin Kaepernick opted out of his deal with the 49ers. He's a free agent. Nobody is calling him. I believe he got one workout, and it was supposed to be a workout, but it turned out not to be one, with the Seattle Seahawks. The options for Russell Wilson's backup were Colin Kaepernick and Austin Davis. Let me break down some stats for you here. Colin Kaepernick, the 29-year-old, was drafted in the second round of the 2011 NFL Draft out of Nevada and played with the 49ers from 2011 to 2016. He's amassed a 72-30 touchdown-to-interception ratio with 12,271 passing yards, 2,300 rushing yards, and a passer rating of 88.9. Austin Davis went undrafted in 2012. Was signed as an undrafted free agent by the St. Louis Rams in 2012, let go, picked up by the Miami Dolphins, signed to the practice squad in 2013, played for the Rams again in 2013, signed off of the Dolphins practice squad, and in 2014 as a backup, the Cleveland Browns in 2015, the Denver Broncos last year, has a career 13-12 touchdown-to-interception ratio with 2,548 career passing yards and a passer rating of 80.4. Austin Davis was signed to be the backup to Russell Wilson for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I just gave you the stats there. Now, some people are saying, well, Austin Davis is going to be significantly cheaper than Colin Kaepernick. And sure, he is. It's what others are saying that really are kind of grinding my gears a bit on this. It's always been said that talent always wins and gets a second or third chance. And Colin Kaepernick has something there. This was a guy that was a few plays away from winning a Super Bowl, for Christ's sakes. And now we're talking about him not having a job because he took a knee during the national anthem all of last season, despite the fact that he said he's going to stand, that he feels he got his point across, which he did. He absolutely did. He took a knee, and he said exactly what he was standing up for. He stuck to his guns all season, made his donations all season, and beyond that, he's done that, and yet he still doesn't have a job, and people are still saying, well, it's a distraction. It's going to be a distraction. And for the life of me, I can't figure out what the distraction would be. You see, here you've got a team in the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's just say, for example, drafted Joe Mixon, round 2, who knocked out a woman on film. It was caught. Cold-cocked her, knocked her out. Completely horrifying video, disgusting to look at. He's a piece of crap of a human being. He gets drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals, which also employed Adam Pac-Man Jones, who famously made it rain with bullets in the air at a nightclub, or strip club, as he said, script club. Tim Tebow gets a press conference everywhere he goes. He got one to be the Jets' personal punt protector. I mean, you talk about distractions. What is this really about? Is it about the fact that he kneeled down one season? I mean, here's exactly what would happen. Here's the distraction. The big distraction. The big distraction would be Colin Kaepernick signs with a team, reports to training camp. A ton of media coverage is going to be there. ESPN is going to hype it like it's nobody's business. And then the first preseason game happens, and all the cameras are zoomed in on Colin Kaepernick during the anthem, and Colin Kaepernick is standing there as the anthem is playing. That's it. It's over. It's done. The big hype would be that I personally feel this, and I'll ask Brandon this later on in the week when we record Not Just Football Talk Weekly. But I have to think that the distractions that would come or could possibly come would solely be because they want to see what happens that first game. And once that first game happens, when he doesn't kneel down and he stands up like he says he will, then what? Then what does it become? Are you going to continue to hate him? Oh, well, let's just keep following him around. See if he does it week 2, week 3, week 4 of the preseason. Okay, well, the regular season started. Let's try now. Week 1, week 2. Like, no, they're not going to do that. They're going to move on to the next story. The next big thing of the season, which very likely will probably be Joe Mixon and how he does. Now I know for a fact that my Jets are not going to pick him up at all. Not as long as Woody Johnson is the owner and he's buddy-buddy with Donald Trump. He serves as the ambassador to the UK in the Trump administration. But, I mean, somebody's got to think that Colin Kaepernick would benefit their team somehow. You put a team around him and I'm sure he could be a very dangerous weapon. I mean, you mean to tell me you think Josh McCown is better than Colin Kaepernick? What about Ryan Fitzpatrick, who signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? So Jameis Winston and the Bucs fans, watch out, because the curse of the Fitzmagic is real. I thought Buffalo was just being Buffalo about it, and then the Jets got him, and it was just crazy. It's crazy. Follow the Fitzpatrick pattern. But you mean to tell me he who's been to almost 10 teams now, or I think 10 teams, is better than Colin Kaepernick? Who almost won the 49ers franchise, the legendary San Francisco 49ers franchise, a Super Bowl? Get out of here. And now I think those owners need to really just get their heads out of their rear ends and start thinking about the team. Think about the team and think about what's gonna help benefit the team. Like someone like Jerry Jones not even looking in the direction of Colin Kaepernick baffles me, because that guy picked up Greg Hardy. Oh, well, Greg Hardy wasn't convicted. He did it. It's just amazing to me how something like that and these opinions for Colin Kaepernick stay, the big picture's not looked at, I think. The big picture's not looked at. What did he do? He used a national platform where millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people watch every week to put out a message that was ultimately shared at the beginning of the ESPYs by LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and Carmelo Anthony. Chris Paul, rather, not Chris Bosh. Among others. And there have been others that have got their message out there like that too. And Colin Kaepernick was the catalyst of it, and yet he's going to be punished. He's going to be blackballed from the league. That he could help potentially help you make more money in because you're mad that he took a knee and promoted awareness and then said, I'm pledging to donate $1 million to different charities, and he's donated to 24 charities and counting right now, totaling $750,000. Up to and including $50,000 of that to Meals on Wheels, which the Trump administration cut from the budget. That's right, Meals on Wheels. You don't know what Meals on Wheels is? Go look it up. It's a good government benefit that helps people. Trump administration cut that. Colin Kaepernick gave $50,000. But he's a bad guy. I hope that this blows over and that Colin Kaepernick can at least get a chance to prove himself, because then if he can at least get a chance to go to a training camp, to play in the preseason game and prove himself, and if he does not do well and gets cut, there it is. Everybody will have the proof. Everybody will be like, okay, this is what we needed. We needed to see if he could play. He's obviously not as good as he was. There it is. But the fact that he's not even getting that chance, and so many lesser people are, the Austin Davises of the world, baffles me. I'll talk more about that on the Not Just Football Talk Weekly podcast with Brandon. Probably more on this podcast as the days go on, but Colin Kaepernick, I'm on your side now. I hope he gets it. I hope he gets a shot. A good shot and a chance to prove that he could, at the very least, that maybe he could be a starter in the NFL. At the very least, a qualified backup. News you need to know, coming up next on the JC Money Show. Stick around. Father's Day is Sunday, June 18th, and if you haven't purchased a gift yet, head on over to our Amazon store at shopgear.com and find that perfect gift for your father, stepfather, or father figure in your life. Everything from lawnmowers, tools, grilling supplies, and more can be purchased and delivered right to his door, gift wrapped with a card, and everything, the whole nine. It's awesome. And if your dad is an electronic junkie like me, we have Amazon Fire tablets starting at just $49.99, and for a limited time, buy any 3 all-new Fire tablets, and Amazon's going to knock off an additional 20% from your order. We also have gift cards in any denomination, too, if Dad wants to pick out his own gift. What's more, by using our shopgear.com link to go to Amazon and make your purchases, you help support this program at no additional cost to you. That's right, no gimmicks, my babies. Just use our link and shop Amazon. Have it delivered in 2 days or less with Prime. Make Dad happy and support a small business all at once. Win-win-win for everybody. As always, thank you for bookmarking, saving, and sharing our Amazon link at shopgear.com. News you need to know. We are back on the JC Money Show here on iHeartRadio, and news you need to know, sponsored by ShopGear.com, as the sponsor really of this entire program, no matter what the segment is. But while you were still pointing fingers at Kathy Griffin and drawing comparisons and all that stuff, on June 1st, Donald Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement. That's right. When discussing his decision to pull out of the Paris Climate Agreement over lunch after playing another round of golf on Sunday, Trump's post-Paris analysis was, quote, "They can't even get the weather report right, so how come they think they could get that right?" That's right. Donald Trump pulled from the Paris Climate Agreement because of a weather report. He thought that they can't get their weather report right, so how are they going to get the climate agreement right? And he said that he works for the people of Pittsburgh and not Paris. It is beyond clear to me that Donald Trump has absolutely no idea what the Paris Agreement is. So, allow me to tell you what the Paris Agreement is. The Paris Climate Accord and Paris Climate Agreement is an agreement within the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the UNFCCC, dealing with greenhouse gas emissions, mitigation, adaptation, and finance starting in the year 2020. The language of the agreement was negotiated by representatives of 196 parties at the 21st Conference of the Parties of the UNFCCC in Paris and adopted by consensus on December 12th, 2015. So, what does that mean? The long and short of it is, all of these countries are coming together, sans Syria and Nicaragua, but basically what it does is it focuses on renewable energy. A conscious effort on renewable energy, getting away from the old school coal and oil and that dependencies, and more wind, solar, etc. Now, most Americans oppose President Trump's decision to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement, with the majority saying that the move will damage the United States' global leadership, which is true. As a lot of people are saying now that Germany is now the leader of the free world. France is now calling on Americans to come move there. and that their opportunities that should be that are here in America will be made available to them in France. Kind of tempting in a way, but I'm American till the end, so Donald Trump's not going to run me out of this goddamn country, I'll tell you that much. But according to a new Washington Post ABC News poll, most Americans oppose Trump's decision to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement. Opposition to Trump's decision outpaces support for it by a roughly 2-to-1 margin, with 59% opposing the move and 28% in support. The reactions also break down sharply along partisan lines, though Republicans are not as united in support of the withdrawal as Democrats are in opposition to it. A 67% majority of Republicans support Trump's action, but that drops to 22% among political independents and 8% of Democrats. So just over 6 in 10 independents and 8 in 10 Democrats oppose Trump's action. As you can hear, my 3-year-old also opposes it too. You can hear her in the background. Now, the one thing about this is, and I'm gonna close out the news you need to know. Quick segment here. On this note here, while Trump says we are going to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement and renegotiate terms that are better for America, which, by the way, the world leader said there's no renegotiation on the table. Under the normal rules of the agreement, the United States cannot withdraw until November 2020. So you can imagine that in the 2020 presidential election, the race, which will begin in 2019, that's going to be a very hot-button topic. So I would imagine that between now and then, Team Trump or Pence by then will have an idea of what to say to try to convince the people that withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement is good, or maybe offering the hope that we will go back into the Paris Climate Agreement because we're looking towards the future. Because Trump has damaged so much already in these 120, 130 plus days that he's been in office. There is a nuclear option, but I highly doubt that will go through. So look for at the earliest, November of 2020, when the United States will officially be able to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement. On a lighter note, when we come back on the JC Money Show here on Gear's iHeartRadio channel. Stick around. IndyCard Media is your one-stop shop for quality designs at a quality price. They offer merchandising, company branding, event posters, custom clothing designs, and so much more. Check out their gallery of past designs by visiting facebook.com/IndyCard Media and tell them what you think. That's IndyCard Media, 337-446-4331 or IndyCardMafia@gmail.com. Tell them that we sent you. Again, 337-446-4331. IndyCard Media. Bring your designs to life. On a later note, brought to you by the Amazon page, shopgear.com. Or you know what? Go to gearnetwork.com. If Amazon is not your thing, go to gearnetwork.com. If you feel so compelled to donate to us, which I would certainly appreciate, there is a donate button up on the top bar that says donate to Gear, any denomination you wish, as little as $1, as much as $500, or anything in between, anything else. But shopgear.com or gearnetwork.com/donate. All right, so on a lighter note, talks about an old friend of mine from my pro wrestling days, Luke Harper. I've mentioned him a few times on podcasts past and things like that, and jokingly mentioned about how I beat him at Next Era Wrestling for the NEW Championship in September of 2009, I think it was. Yes, September or October of 2009. Never mind that there were 5 or 6 other guys that had to, quote-unquote, help me beat him. But we had a match. It was a good match, and it was actually a good feud that he and I had. It was one of my memorable ones that I had, and that was actually a memorable run, so to speak, because I had good matches with a whole crop of good independent talent during that time. And Luke Harper, we all knew he had it. We just didn't know why he wasn't signed at the time that he was. At that time. Like, for me, Luke Harper should have been signed in 2007 or 2008. He was a big guy then. He's even bigger now. but he was a big guy then. He's always been big. He's 6'6", 6'7", and 270 pounds. I mean, and he could move like a cruiserweight. So the fact that he wasn't signed until 2012 baffled me. But it's no surprise to me that he is where he is, and he's doing as well as he's doing. Now he returns here to Rochester tonight, as a matter of fact. Tonight, 7:45 p.m. at the Blue Cross Arena in downtown Rochester. Smackdown Live. It's going to be shown all over the world on USA Network. So if you are not there, tickets are available. They're $100, $75, $55, $35, $25, and $15. Available through Ticketmaster.com. Ticketmaster charged by phone or the Blue Cross Arena box office. I expect Luke Harper to be on the show, and I expect a loud, uproarious ovation for the guy. And hopefully he can end the jinx, because there is a jinx of hometown people going to their hometown, wrestling under the WWE banner, and losing. The Rochester Democrat and Chronicle had a great article on him and talked about really, his past and his time in the Indies, specifically here, but moving on to Dragon Gate and different things like that, Shakara, different types of things, 2CW, all that stuff. This article is 100% true. He has kept his Rochester roots. He loves the Rochester Amerks. He's been to Amerks games, even as a big star. Moved here. He does reside here. I won't say where, but he does reside in Rochester. But the jinx that I was talking about, or the curse, or whatever it is, the WWE hometown curse. According to this article, performers rarely get to win in their hometown. Harper has wrestled at the Blue Cross Arena 3 times since joining the WWE in house shows, and is 0 for 3. He expects a large contingent of family and friends. Unfortunately, I will not be there on Tuesday night, but I'll be watching. I'll be watching live and on TV. Show enough living color. I'll be watching, and I'll be rooting for my dude Luke Harper here. Now, I may not be there, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be. So get there, support the WWE, support Luke Harper, give him a rousing ovation. He deserves it. And here's the end of that jinx. Hats off to you, Luke Harper. Keep doing your thing, and we will support you. That's going to do it for this edition of the JC Money Show here on the Gear Radio Network's iHeartRadio channel. That's right. Of course, you can listen to it every day on iHeartRadio if you wish. And at the end of the week, every JC Money Show episode will be available for download on the Gear Network Spreaker page. Visit shopgear.com to do all of your Amazon shopping. Of course, that helps us out. That sustains this program and sustains all of the other programming on the network as well. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you shopping. Tune in next time for an all-new edition of the JC Money Show. When I post it, it'll be right here first on iHeartRadio, Gear Network style. So long, everybody. Good night now. The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.